next session, which let me tell you is an important one, especially if you are a parent, because it is titled Monitor What They Watch, Kids Safety on Internet. And for the same, we are in conversation with Kalpana Ravi, Bureau Chief, Media News for You, joined by Aarti Garampalli, Principal, Indira National School, Prasada Shejale, Founder and CEO, LogicServe Digital, Akshay Gurnani, co-founder and CEO, Shebang, Sujata Dvibeti, Group Trading Director, Amplify India, Dentsu, Suhas Bedekar, Director, The Learning Curve. Over to you, Kalpana ji. Kalpana ji, if I may ask you to unmute yourself.
Yeah, good afternoon to all my panelists, and they all esteemed. So if there are any glitches, please excuse me. It's great. You know, we're not meeting personally, but meeting on the virtual screen. The topic today is how do we monitor our kids' time on the internet? I would like to start with Suhas. Suhas, we're talking about content on the kids' genre. How has it, you know, progressed over the years, and what are we seeing now?
Thank you, Kalpana ma'am. Thank you. Welcome all panelists as well. Yes, I'm actually dealing to preschool and daycare. So our age group is between 18 months to 6 years. But there's a big change that is happening across in this segment as well. And the worry always is that what is the right time to be on the phone or on the internet for the usage of kids. And we personally never believed in that though. But due to pandemic, everything is now on virtual platform across out over there. It's very important to ensure what is the right content to watch. And I'll just give a simple example. We handle kids into daycare for 12 hours, right, from 8 to 8. And whenever the kid is taken home again by the parents, and if he starts screaming or crying, the first thing the parents do is कि उसके हाथ में phone थमा देते हैं. And the kid is very happy to have the phone and start Googling whether it's a YouTube or it's a favorite music or whatever. So the internet has become an important part of the life, especially during the COVID times. I feel today's world, it's very important for a parent to actually partner with the child and to engage and probably sit with the child on whether it's on the internet or whether it's watching a movie, to do the do's and don'ts about it, rather than, yes, we at a back end, we can have all the glitches controlled, which site to watch, which site not to watch. But I think it's very important for a parent to sit with the child, to engage the child on the internet, to share probably what is good and what should be avoided. In the segment that we are in, I think there's a big change that has happened. I mean, we ourselves have gone online with the session plans, with the LMS across, and we have started doing all the sessions online. So there's a big change, and especially kids have also adapted to that. The kids, the new age kids are very smart kids. They in fact know how to unlock your phones also. So they know exactly where to go, how to Google things, and they can actually move on from one page to another page. I have seen a kid which is a 4-year-old and was surfing for the school project, very interestingly. And while surfing, he did realize at a later stage, after 10 minutes, that he has almost close to 30 windows open simultaneously, and he's been searching on something. So, you know, so this is the today's world. So whether that 30 windows were right for him or it just went on and went on. So I think it's very important for parents to come as partners. So we always in high schools or in our schools also, we talk about parent partnership programs, but I think it's more important for the parents to partner with the child and actually sit with the child and have enormous. I mean, I was listening a bit to the earlier conversation also, where Viacom and Netflix and all the OTT platforms are talking about creating new content across out over there. But I think what to watch is also critical. I myself is a big fan of animation movies, and I always give that example to my team members also, that you should watch animation. There's a lot of learning apart from enjoying that animation, whether the movie is a Coco or whether it's a Spirit, Untamed, or any movies across out there. But there's a learning, and I think parents should sit to ensure what is the learning out of it. So, I mean, we as an adult can also learn a lot out of these movies across there. So I think controlling internet, what sites and all that, kind of what timeline, it's very difficult. But yes, there is definitely a good engagement platform. Yes, we can definitely ensure what to watch and what not to watch. But it's an enormous world. It's a very different world. And last 2 years with COVID, everybody is only on phone. So either it's a phone or it's a TV that they are hooked onto, and I think they are missing the actual fundamental of being kids, especially in our age group that we talk about, 18 months to 5 years, where they need to enjoy with toys, enjoy with the play, enjoy the story time, enjoy reading books. So that is something which is missing, but we should control a lot on OTT. Yeah.
Coming to you, Aarti, as a school principal for toddlers and preschool, how do you go about educating, today I would say educating parents on how to control what their children are watching?
Thank you very much, Kalpana ma'am. As Suhas was rightly saying, now that we are all of us on this online platform since say about 18 to 20 months now that we are into this mode. Of course, earlier we used to have this platform, but you know, the children mainly played games or watched movies or cartoons or whatever that they were interested in. But now that we as parents, teachers, or the students, we all of us are on this platform today. And as I heard earlier also, we are stuck to these devices nowadays. What I feel is, you know, as Suhas said, yes, parents have to monitor every time what the children are doing in their homes today, that they are locked in their homes. They're not allowed to go out. There is no physical activity. What we have experienced is, you know, when they are too much on this platform, you know, we have seen some, you know, they're always on the watch. As he said, pop-ups come up. You try to go into those modes also, and you explore so many things. The children are exposed to so many things nowadays, and they don't know what they are watching exactly. So sometimes what we say as tips we give to the children, as teachers also, we constantly make them aware of so many things that are happening around us. So what we do is we give them some safety tips every time that we enter into this mode, you know. We tell them that even the parents, when we have some orientations with the parents, we tell them how you parent the kids, especially on this mode, you know. What we do is we tell them, don't allow your children to sit alone and browse on the internet, because they don't know what they are watching exactly and what is good or bad for them. And especially the teenagers, they love this mode actually. You know, they post so many things about their times, about their pictures or anything, and they're on the social media all the time. And they love interacting with their peers at this age. So what we tell them is, don't allow these kids to browse alone. You be with them, or you be somewhere around them, what they're doing, monitor what their activities are going on the online basis. Also, we tell the children that, you know, you should be keep their privacy. You know, they shouldn't be telling about their family members' names or what their occupations are or what they are doing or what my mom or what my dad is doing. You know, all these things, we ask them not to do these things. You know, they should be privately kept for themselves. They shouldn't be doing anything like online. Sometimes they ask for some pop-ups come and they ask for the names for your, say for your addresses, you know, something like this. Sometimes even the teenagers love to buy something online shopping, you know, so that time you tend to give away your phone numbers, your addresses and all. So that has to be monitored by the parents regularly. Of course, the parents have so many things also in their hands under their control. They can always have some security tools embossed in the devices, they can say that, they can actually stop all these things from the children. Also, we tell the children not to click on the pop-ups that come. Like now, as Suhas said, there were 30 pop-ups, there were 30 videos on. So the child doesn't know what he's seeing exactly. So we tell the children not to click on any of the pop-ups or any of the newspaper, e-newspapers or anything like that. Also, we tell them to use some strong password. The parents can help them to have a very strong password, which will help them to keep it as private as possible. And of course, or as parents, we can have a set time rule for your screen time. The screen time is another one issue which is always there with the parents, with the children, with us also. We are always on this mode of screen time, screen time, screen time. So we tell them, you should have some specific time every time. You can have some time for your, say, videos or your projects or your schoolwork or anything like that, And then also you can have, you can, as parents, as role models, we should see our screen time, what we are having. We should be the role models where we are also with the children, especially have some plan, like, during dinner time or during, so most of the time what I have seen or what I have experienced is many of the families, they have dinner in front of the television. So that is also a screen time. They don't interact with each other. So somewhere we have to stop these screen times, also just before going to bed. Also, sometimes we all love to play games, as teenagers, as the students, as the younger ones, they love to play games as they are in the houses itself. Of course, there is no physical activity for them now. So what we feel, oh, this is the only entertainment left for them. But as parents, of course, we can have so many other physical entertainment with the children, and have some small gatherings with each other. And you can have so many discussions. You can have simple play. As I'm a principal of a school, I speak like this, that you should have some time with your quality time with your children. You play games with them, which you can play at home, not online, but offline. I feel this is very important, and we educate our children to be very cyber security. Even the parents, due to this pandemic, I understand they have a lot of issues of taking care of their kids. But I feel we are all into this new normal. We are adjusting to these things and wish that all these things come to an end soon and we are back to our offline mode. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Sujata. It's a pleasure to meet you online. It's been a very long time.
Yes,
Sujata, tell me from a media agency point of view, where do you think the kids' content is going today? And, and what are the brands you would want to put so that the kids can, really see without, getting into too much of a trouble or anything of that sort?
Well, today the kids' content has been increasing. If you see, there are so many channels which are there. And kids are not only educational, but otherwise, story, animation, even Indian content is there across all the kids channels. Now, coming to the advertisers, if you see the top 10 advertisers, it would be predominantly FMCG because, they are the largest in overall AdX, right? So the top 5 would definitely be the FMCG clients who are advertising on the kids channels. And that's nothing to do with, mainly food or chocolates or, products related to them. It's anything and everything because the kids channels are priced very low, which works very well for the advertisers and the agencies to pick up, the kids channels, right? The second thing is, the advertisers like Heinz or Ferrero or, Nestle, these clients have consciously decided not to advertise anything that's got to do with food because of their M2K policy. So what happens is kids below 12 should not be fed with any ads, right, pertaining to food, which leads to obesity. So they've taken a conscious call, and which is why you will not see these kind of advertisers on kids channels. And they also are conscious in the content they pick up from general entertainment channels. They ensure that the reach of the channel should not be at a very high level for the kids. So the advertisers have become very conscious in what messaging they want to do. Now, coming to the digital platform, in the digital platform, it's quite open. However, Google, which is one of the largest platforms where search is happening, what's happening is, there are enough and more parental controls available on Google. So when we feed our ads, we are also conscious on whom we are targeting, right? And there are parental controls, there are links. When you're downloading games or anything from Play Store, you can ensure that, those kind of games are downloaded, which don't really have, which have controls for the kids. And in terms of content, whatever is fed in YouTube Kids, Food Kids, those are, of course, what kids are watching. And unfortunately, we don't have too many educational and, mentally good content, which the kids would kind of grow with the content. We don't have such content internationally or in India. And kids, as ad spends are very low in the country. It comes to about 3 to 4% on television. Even on the digital space, advertising to kids has actually gained momentum only in the last year because of the pandemic, because the internet connection, etc., has gone up amongst the kids. So earlier, kids were not really getting advertising on internet much. It's really grown since last year.
Coming to you, sir, Prasad sir, what is your take on this whole content, and how would you see advertising of content, advertising on these kids channels?
Yeah, sure. I think a very interesting question here, and very good to hear different views, from perspective of basically becoming the partner to the child, to having safety tips that we are talking about, and general content ecosystem here in India. But very interesting thing, when I say kids, I'm taking the way you said 18 months to probably the teen age, okay? And I think the age that I am at, and my daughters have seen it grow along with the internet, okay? My elder daughter is about 22, 23 years of age, and now the younger one is in 12th. And a huge amount of nieces and nephews that way, okay? And I try to being I always wear a hat of 4 things always, okay? One is definitely as a marketer, okay? Second one is a parent. Third one is, I would say, content creator. And the fourth one is a responsible citizen, okay? And if you really wear those hats, there are different perspectives that you get to it, okay? So yeah, I mean, it is very imperative to say that when a kid is in an age wherein you can control his behavior when he's a kid, a really kid, I don't know, I mean, I don't know whether it is the right thing to say it or not, but I don't think you can control kids' behavior nowadays, no matter whether it's a 1 day old or more, okay? So I'm sorry if I've said something wrong there, but at least, you have a sense of your creating, okay? Wherein, you can actually control, give it to me, all that stuff, right? When it gets to, and invariably, if you go to someone else's house and say that, and you really want to use their internet, okay, their Wi-Fi, if you ask the password, there'll be some teenager who tells you that. Yes. What are you talking about? I've gone through all that setting up K9 when my, my younger daughter was 7, 8 years old, and, having a false feeling that, I control them. Okay. No. Okay. And as a marketer also, probably if I think that I know the teens, okay, it's impossible. They are some 1,000 light years away. Okay. Seriously. Okay. Have you ever used Discord? Their languages, the way they call servers is a very different one. I took some lot of time. And the worst thing is that all these nephews and nieces, okay, if I try to get into mujhe sikha, tell me how it has to be done, they will give you hardly 4 or 5 minutes to you. And after some time, they won't allow. Their world is different. Having said so, understanding where they are, and the whole, the simple thing, I always say is that, post 2000, probably God made, whichever God it is, okay, made a different chip in their brains. We can't understand it. I can't resonate with what they like. I can't use Twitch. I can't use Discord. I can't appreciate, the types of content, how can you, there are kids I have seen in the houses wherein they are doing their homework, and at the back of it, there is a Discord is running with some gaming. Talking about gaming is a very, we don't understand gaming at all. Absolutely not. I would say no. absolutely don't. Okay, so coming to content part of it, I think that is where I think there's a huge underlying sort of I would say underlying a need of these kids, okay, to at the same time they think they are independent, but there are huge amount of being part of something. Okay, there are groups, and that is what scares me a lot. Okay, wherein if you see I would consider basically type of content, even if it's gaming. On the gaming one, the types of formats that you have to share your who you are, what you are, and how you are. Okay, apart from that, the huge amount of easily accessible probably pornography. Okay, which is it's a content. Okay, so I think today's discussion is more of a safety part of
Content,
that.
yeah, safety part.
Okay, the contact. Okay, I mean it is so. My daughter who comes from having all the things that we've been talking about, being partnership, being telling them what it is, having all the rules, what, but I sometimes she scares me. Okay, a few days back, just to play a particular game, okay, she installed a different OS, okay, and set it up everything for it. I wouldn't have even known. It just that happened is that there are some things that I've set it up which triggered, and I went and said that what are you doing? Okay, and she said, so just imagine, okay, there's a whole contact that you can talk about. Then of course the overuse that you have, okay, and of course as someone was talking about buying part of it. So this is the content related one. I think easier one to have where it is regulated and which is in front of you. But there is a the whole 99% of the content which is none of us are aware of it, because we are not accepted in the world and we don't understand. That is what worries me a lot, and it is uncontrolled.
Okay, coming to you, Akshay. Sujata talked about, because kids channel advertising is so cheap, so media buyers go buy all kinds of slots in kids channel. As per the rules abroad, even in Europe, you're not supposed to advertise in certain time when the kids were watching it. As an integrated marketer, what do you think, or how do you advise your brands to get content or get advertising onto kids channel, and now the digital medium with so many people coming out with apps?
Absolutely. I think this entire kids space has become a real big boom, and I think some amazing learnings already for me from the kind of conversations we've been having so far. But this entire new, so we used to have the millennials, we had the Gen Z, now we have the Gen Alpha, as we call them, right? And this Alpha, I think in all true sense, is because they're Alpha, because they know exactly what they want, and they're the ones really controlling every decision in the homes, right? And I think the kind of pester power that they have is, I think, unprecedented. Exactly what all the panelists said, that these kids actually know exactly where, how, what, when, and they have more knowledge than anybody. So I myself don't have a child, but I work with a lot with brands that talk to children. And in fact, I do a lot of baby photography. So I meet with many parents every now and then just to understand, and I try to understand from them that, what's actually going on in the mind of the child to, and what kind of content are they consuming on these platforms to really allow them to be distracted up to a large extent, because I think a lot of content is created for distraction, while the second part of content is made for edutainment. So I'll just talk a bit more on the content side to it, and some of the learnings that I've actually got is, that like nowadays there's so much of this animation based content that's been sort of booming off late, because with the entire lockdown, of course we cannot shoot content, so a lot of the content is being made in studios through animatics or then through influencers. Actually, this entire space of kidfluencers, as we call them, has picked up substantially in the past 1.5 years. Okay, and these kidfluencers, of course, they're being represented by their parents on the platforms, but the kind of share of voice that they have in the child's minds is, I think, tremendous, because today kids are able to resonate with these kidfluencers, and actually, they're swayed a lot by what these kidfluencers are actually talking about on these platforms. So, from a media perspective as well, when we talk about how to advertise, kidfluencers today have become a media channel for us. We are actually utilizing kidfluencers to promote a story, promote a narrative, or promote a particular product. Of course, keeping it as organic within the conversation as possible. So we used to work with a brand called Mattel. Of course, Mattel is one of the biggest brands that sort of caters to the entire kid space. And one of the biggest mandates for us, as a content generator plus as an advertiser, has been that we've got to be COPPA compliant, right? We've got to have certain compliances in place which allows the platform to not save any data of the kid or of the device from which he's logging into the platform. I think the entire controversy that came up a couple of years ago with YouTube, specifically from the kind of content that they were promoting ads on, again pornographic and a lot of ISIS content, a lot of terrorism-based content. When the entire YouTube Kids sort of launched in India as well, that became one of the primary platforms for us as marketers to sort of advertise on, because it is COPPA compliant. They're not saving too much data. You cannot get into micro targeting. It's more of very surface level targeting. So we're not necessarily capturing any cookies of these consumers or potential consumers. We also work with another platform called Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome is the largest network of kid-safe advertising. So they work on something called Awesome Ads, where they have suites of apps which are visited by children, but again completely COPPA compliant. So ensuring that, because again we spoke about the fact that gaming today has become a big part of the child's daily habits of content consumption. So getting onto these apps like a Clash of Clans, or like a Ludo King, for example, or like a Dora the Explorer, being a part of the organic conversation in the app while the child is playing the game. So maybe he's actually interacting with the brand subconsciously, while maybe moving up a level, for example, or buying a new life, for example. So it's trying to keep the entire narrative slightly more organic and not being too outwardly branded in a whole sense. And I think that's the way to go. Of course, the regulations are always evolving, and it's interesting to see how can we self-regulate more importantly. And that's always been a tip to clients, saying that regulation comes by self-regulating, because at the end of the day, most of our clients are parents themselves, right? You've got to ask them saying, would you want your child to see this content, right? Would you want your child to be bombarded with this content? If the answer is no, we won't do it, right? It's as simple as that, because eventually we all are human and we all care about the places that we are advertising or the people we're talking to. So I think keeping those morals intact becomes very important. Of course, we're trying to comply with all of the legalities as required, but I think morally being sound becomes very important. And that's what we tell our clients, as much as possible.
Okay, thank you. Getting back to you, Aarti, with schools online, parents working from home, how does a parent ensure that the kid is, like Suhas said, 30 screens open on his mobile or tab or whatever it is? Or like Prasad said, there's something playing on the background, you're doing your homework. How do you think parents should be able to control this problem with children?
Yeah, as I said earlier, thank you, Kalpana, again. It is a little bit important, essential role by the parents to be played at this moment. They have some security tools. If you go into the setting menu, you can stop all these kind of screens, especially for the children when they are doing their homework or they are on the online mode of teaching, when they are learning from the teachers. Especially when, of course, parents every time cannot monitor these things, so they can stop these kind of viewing by the children through security tools, which we can import in the devices, as I had said earlier. As I said again, it is very important that we choose how much time our child can go on this online mode. I feel that is more important as parents, that they should take care of these things, And as I said, of course, screen time is very important. We have to plan something for the children every time, even if we are at home or even in the school time, we have to plan some time. Like, in the school time, we teach, say, just for 3 hours, that is the online screen time that we give to the children. Apart from that, when they have to do these homeworks or they have to do some projects, that has to be monitored by the parents, especially in the presence of the parents. I think once the parents finish off with their work, I think they can spare some time with the children for this.
Unfortunately, I have grown up with a child in the internet age who's 26 now, and I'm, like he would say, I'm technologically challenged. And like Prasad said, I agree to it. You can put any amount of screen locks and things on your phone, on your thing, Today, OTT is on TV. How are you going to stop your child from watching that? So anybody coming up with a suggestion, how, you have Netflix, you have Amazon, you have everything on your smart TV. It's just a button. There is no regulation on OTT. There is no regulation on the digital platform. How do you have, but any one of y'all can come in and tell me what kind of parental control will you do on this? They're much smarter than you and me. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, they are much smarter. I think some of the few important things that I sort of follow, because no matter how much control that you'll put, they will find ways to do it. At least after 10 years, I'm telling you, they do it. I mean, if we can have it later on, and I have figured a lot of things. But anyway, so at least few things you can avoid. For example, if you have an OTT, have a different profiles. Okay, so that whatever you are watching, at least it doesn't go to them directly onto it, right? Okay, so that's something that I would work on it. Another one thing I think working is that I think trust related one. So be very open. The way probably we encourage to talk other things in life also. Similarly, I think internet safety is you have to be open. You can't just say don't do it. Okay, you sort of go much deeper and try to sort of show what can go wrong, etc. Be a friend, a genuine friend to them. Okay, because they are the only one who can let them in their world. No matter how much you do it. As I was saying, there are a lot of technologies that you work on, you don't understand. No matter as a marketer, I think that I understand, and I sort of come to conferences like this and talk about it. But I think there are 90% dark stuff that I don't even know, right? So be a friend to them, okay? And I think that's something. Of course, family sort of media related. They are watching you, okay? So make sure that when you are on the table, don't use it, etc. So and some once in a while probably it's like every month some sort of a lecture that you give it to them, saying that this all of us are agreeing to it. Do we agree? Something like that we do in the house. But I think trust is something which has to be built onto it. Otherwise you can't control. And trust me, I mean, I have tried all sort of monitoring systems and everything, but they will always find some way to do that. Because the whole niece and nephews which we sort of in and around, and many of them are doing some, so they find out among themselves how to go over it. Okay, so that has failed miserably for me.
Coming to you, Sujata, as a brand custodian, you said that because advertising on a kids channel is cheaper than advertising on GEC, so any sort of advertising gets on. Do you think that there should be, I know I shouldn't step into this topic, but do you really think that, kids channel should up their prices? So then you're very careful, or the brand is very careful on what is being advertised on the kids channel.
Well, there's a logic behind it on why it is priced so low. But the thing is, they can't really take it up by 5 times, right? Then they will not get advertising itself.
I'm not saying 5 times, but at least, up it up by 2 times, twice, 2x or something like that.
I don't think they should increase the pricing, but what they could do is, I'm a media buyer at heart. So obviously, I wouldn't recommend increasing the price, but what they could do is have some kind of, filter on what advertising happens on the kids channels. Because while some international advertisers have consciously stayed away
Absolutely.
from kids channels, but what's happening is there are many others in India, and they are feeding the content to kids. So normally India has one TV household, smartphone is being shared with the kids. So the kind of content that's getting fed, we need to be more responsible with that, and the communication and messaging needs to be focused more on pricing. At the moment, it's not only the kids channels, the market is in such a state that nobody can talk about pricing increase. Maybe when the things improve better, when they are able to give the kind of reach that the other general entertainment channels are giving. See, they are very good rate deflators, but what happens is overall, in the larger scheme of things, their reach has to be that high to demand that kind of rate, right? So their footprint is not as high as the entertainment channels or the news channels have.
Coming to you, Suhas, you are a content producer, you do animation. How do you think kids channel can up their content offerings to the children? Today, kids have become very smart. They watch all kind of international content. Korean content has become the most in thing the kids go to. How do you think kids channel in India need to up? You know, you can always get an international content and dub it in Hindi or other languages. But as an Indian, as a content provider in India, what do you think is the next step forward?
Honestly, I am not into content provider nor into animation. I run preschool and daycare chains. But so I am not a big fan of giving screen time also. So we ensure in our schools there is no screen time when the kid comes to the daycare. But obviously, as I said, because of the COVID, there's no much option there, and the parents are stuck with their own work at a home front also, and they really don't have time, to be very honest. I mean, when you are asking Aarti also about how do you check, it's very difficult because parents are also stressed because of the work and with the fear that they might lose the job and all. So they have also been working round the clock. So it's very difficult to control all. It's coming back to your thought line on the content. There is so much available, so it's very difficult to even analyze who is watching what content. You know, so probably Sujata can give us a little feed on this, which international content is being watched in India, because you know you have multi-layers. I mean, if you go into the district level of Maharashtra, you have Marathi content going super, and similarly every state had its own content driven. So it's only the metro cities where you will see different content being seen. So suddenly you have a Japanese Heidi coming into picture, and you have Heidi series going on everywhere. So you know this keeps shifting across. On a lighter note, I would like to share one news which I was reading through. We are talking about screen time for kids, and this is a district place. I don't want to name the place nor the state, otherwise I'll be sued here straight away. But this is a proper news which was there. The teachers had to apparently go to every household to tell the parents to stop their screen time watching the TV serials, so that they can give that time slot for the kids to come and do educational stuff there. Because in the district level, generally all the education is happening on the TV channels, and they don't have, because as I said, they don't have phone and nor iPads and all that. So this is a very interesting story, and where we are talking about screen time for kids, I think they are fighting, the teachers are really fighting at that level, how to stop the screen time for the adults so that they don't watch their daily soaps and give that particular time slot for kids to learn. So, you know, so there's a very, very different thing between the metros, tier 2 and the district level scenarios across out over there. Yeah.
Coming to you, Akshay, as a marketer.
Yeah.
Today we are also seeing a growth of regional languages widespread. Okay, everybody
Correct.
wants to watch content in their own. And what is the key trends you've seen in the past 5 years, and going forward, what are the trends you're seeing? Will English and Hindi still be the medium of content, or will regional content take over from them?
Yeah, so I think when we're talking about marketing, usually we see that, you know, it's the Bharat who we're going to be talking to in the next 5 years, right? It's the next 500 million who are going to come onto the platforms and will become the inherent consumers of the content as well as creators of the content. I think what we've seen in the lockdown is that the digital penetration has only spiked considerably because there's nothing else to do, right? So I think the phone sort of becomes that kind of a medium to actually have entertainment plus education up to a large extent. And of course, content creation becomes a large part of that entire sphere. So I think as marketers, what we've seen, ma'am, is that, you know, of course, English and Hindi have been the predominant languages, you know, for the past many years. But in fact, today they're creating content in almost 13 languages. The platforms themselves are allowing us to cater to our audiences in multilingual, in regional languages, right? So we have actually content being created in 11 to 12 different languages simultaneously. I think that is going to be the, you know, that's going to be the big way forward for most of us as marketers when it comes to creation of content. And I think, you know, very importantly, we keep hearing from the clients is that today, you know, kids no more want to be the audience. They don't just want to consume the content, they want to be a part of the story as well. They want to be a part of their entire, you know, co-creation of the content. So I think a lot of, you know, learning and doing as you're watching becomes a very important part of the content we create. I think also with the entire lockdown and the our social skills going for a complete toss because people can't necessarily meet, kids can't meet other kids as well. I think this augmented reality, AR, VR is going to be a very, very important way to actually give children an experience. I know Google, for example, if you go and search the keyword tiger, for example, on Google, you can actually turn on a VR experience and place a tiger in your house or on your bed and give your child the experience of seeing a tiger in front of them, right? Unfortunately, we can't take the children to the national parks, but I think augmented reality will be a big part of their overall content creation journey, along with multilingual. Yes.
Okay, we're coming to the last 5 minutes of our session. So I really want to reiterate the fact that, how do you ensure internet safety for your kids on the whole? Whether it's a preschooler or whether it's a teen, how do you ensure internet safety for your children? Anyone?
I feel it's clear that it has to be a parent partnering driven there. So the parents have to sit with the child, whether it's a preschooler or a teen, and then probably get into, as Prasad was saying, you need to understand their lingo, their language, their content, and be a part of it, because you can't really control anything. They crack each and every element there. They are much smarter. As Prasad said, the chips are different completely. Even as a 3-year-old, the chips are completely different, and they're much smarter. Even if you don't take a particular name of a person that the adults are speaking about, and the kid will suddenly say, "Oh, he must be calling you now, see," and all that. And there's no clue there, but they are really, really smart. So I think it's only the parents who would really have to partner. And today, I think because of the COVID, parents have really realized that, because obviously we used to run a daycare and we used to have kids riding for 12 hours with us, because parents have been working round the clock. But today parents are really feeling that, yes, they need to spend some time with the kids. They understand that, but yes, they are not really able to balance their work life there as well. But with the content, with the internet, parents have to sit. Just on a lighter note, again, I don't know how many of you watch Wagali Ki Duniya, but I've been watching Wagali Ki Duniya, and they are really connecting well with the teens, how the kids, their peers pressure comes in, and they are fantastically depicting it. I think that's an amazing learning across out over there. So, I think parents have to take the place and help the kids out to understand what is good, what is not good, what should be avoided, and what is the best for them. Thank you.
Sujata, as a mother, what is your thought on
this?
Yes,
that's what I thought. I have a teenager and I've been through this whole thing. And what I've realized is not only being friends, also, look at the history of what they browse. You don't need to, constantly, monitor such, but do have a look at the history of what they're surfing. Do, be part of their Instagram posts, just be friends with them, see what they're posting, and the kind of pictures they click. And also just being friends with them to tell them things like, why don't you watch Social Dilemma? That will help you understand that when you post a picture, it remains forever. So things like this really helped me. I have a 16-year-old and, she is into BTS and the Korean music, and the content she views is nothing to do with what is, aired in India. She's learning Korean on her own. There are animes they're watching. You can't control the content anymore because there's no geographical division anymore, right? Content is happening from everywhere, from the world. All we can do is inculcate certain things in them so that they know that in future everything remains. What goes to the internet just remains. That is a principal thing we need to tell them.
BTS is so huge. I know somebody who's got a 7-year-old, and when she told me this, I said, "What is BTS?" She looked at me aghast and said, "Auntie, you don't know. I mean, you should Correct. Need some education." And I was like, yes, I do need an education on this. As a principal, what is your thought on this, ma'am? Last 10 seconds.
As Sujata very well said, even Suhas, even Prasad sir, even Akshay, whatever they are saying is correct, that, parental monitoring is very important wherever they go. As said, yes, we have to be friends with our own kids and monitor what they are doing, what they are seeing, and help them out. I feel helping them with them and being with them is very important. I feel that is very important for all the parents.
Akshay, your thought? You're not yet a parent. but I think you must be dealing with a lot of kids in and around you.
I do. But no, I just think that, because advertising is the most persuasive form of communication, I think it's very important that as advertisers, we are very conscious of what we are doing. And, I think it all comes back to our own personal morals, because there could be enough of regulations put out by governments and lawmakers. But I think at the end of the day, if we feel heart and heart that something is wrong and should not be out there, I think we should say no. And I think that's the biggest filter we can keep for ourselves. And there's nothing, more important than that. Yeah.
Prasad, last words.
I think one of the most important, though it's a very complex world and we think there's a lot of complexity, I think what kids are sort of not getting is what I would say simplicity. Okay, they're not getting, if you see most of the content which they like, it's about, even if it is a grizzly bears, what it is about observation, right? Okay, so they miss out on that, right? Okay, so if you add that and experience, okay, so simplicity, observation related one, and experience, if you put that together on top of it, if there is a huge amount of being part of that tribe, okay, that all that K-pop or a BTS that you talk about, okay, is something that everyone want to be. It started with a lot of girls then, and it's spread. Of course, it's more girls still, but if you do that, I think then I think we should be able to understand what sort of stuff that they.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is, this is a very debatable topic. What is privacy for me is not privacy for a teenager or for a girl. There's always a thought, you never put your children on the social media, because like Sujata said, what goes on to digital stays on digital forever. But telling this to today's kids is a little bit of a problem. So I think self-regulation, I think the only thing we can do as parents is teach our children self-regulation, because you can't monitor them day in and day out, because then they feel that you are treading on their FOE, FOS, and it becomes a huge debate after that, because they're watching this everywhere, so we may be old-fashioned, they are not. So, but I think only thing is teach our children what self-regulation is, and make sure what you put on the internet doesn't come to bite you back after 10 years or so. That's the only thing, that's the only advice I think all of us can give. Thank you so much to Indrani ma'am, Prasad sir, Sujata, Suhas, and Akshay. It has been a pleasure talking to you guys. And thank you, IWM, for getting me onto this panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.